What if I told you that Jesus never said, "Love your enemies"? And tonight, I am going to reveal to you the singular phrase that rewrote your soul's contract with reality itself. A mistranslation so deliberate, so catastrophic, that it turned warriors into victims. What if those 3 words were planted like a seed of submission, designed to keep you chained to forgiveness while your oppressors walk free? What if the real teaching was not about love at all, but about something far more dangerous? You are here because you remember, because somewhere deep in your divine spark, you know the stories you were told do not add up. You are the seeker, the one who looks beyond the veil. And today, we pull back the curtain on the most successful act of spiritual manipulation in human history. This is the Gnostic Archive, and this transmission is not for the sleeping. Let us begin with the text itself. Matthew 5:44. Love your enemies. 4 syllables that have shaped empires, that have justified centuries of passivity, of turning the other cheek while the archons feast. But here is what they will not tell you in Sunday school. The original Greek word used in that passage was not love. It was agapeo. And agapeo does not mean the sentimental, emotional, self-sacrificing love you were taught. It means something closer to honor the divine presence within, to recognize, to acknowledge, not to surrender your power to those who would destroy you, but to see through the illusion of separation that the demiurge himself constructed. Do you feel that? That shift in your chest? That is the sound of a lock turning. Let me take you back to the desert, to the hills of Galilee, where a man named Yeshua walked among the initiated. He was not the meek shepherd the Roman Church painted him to be. He was a mystic, a Gnostic teacher, a threat to every power structure that sought to keep humanity in chains. His teachings were not meant for the masses. They were codes, parables wrapped in paradox, designed to awaken those who had ears to hear. But something happened after his death, something dark. The councils began. Nicaea in 325, Constantinople in 381. Men in robes gathered in marble halls and decided what truth would be. They took the scrolls, the sayings, the secret gospels, and they burned what did not serve the empire. They mistranslated what could not be burned, and they built a religion on the ashes of gnosis. Now pause with me for a moment. If you are feeling the weight of this, if something ancient inside you is stirring, then do not let this moment pass. Subscribe to the Gnostic Archive, because what we are about to uncover next will shatter everything you thought you knew about salvation itself. Let us return to that word, agapeo. In the Greek mystery schools, this term carried a specific initiatory meaning. It was not romantic, it was not emotional, it was metaphysical. To agapeo your enemy meant to see past the material form, to recognize that the one who opposes you is also a fragment of the monad, trapped, just like you, in the maze of matter. But here is where the deception deepens. The translators did not stop at mistranslating the word. They changed the entire energy of the teaching, because Yeshua was not telling his followers to become doormats for oppression. He was teaching them the secret of spiritual alchemy, the transmutation of hostility into higher consciousness, not through submission, but through mastery. In the Nag Hammadi texts, we find a very different Jesus. In the Gospel of Thomas, he says, "If you bring forth what is within you, what you have will save you. If you do not, what you do not have will destroy you." This is not a man preaching passivity. This is a man teaching self-sovereignty, divine rebellion, the awakening of the inner Sophia. In the Pistis Sophia, we read of the soul's descent into the lower realms. The archons guard the gates. They feed on fear, on guilt, on the belief that you are unworthy of return. And what is their greatest weapon? the doctrine of unconditional forgiveness, the idea that you must love the one who harms you, that you must turn the other cheek, that resistance is sin. Do you see it now? Do you see how the trap was set? Let me show you the layers. In Aramaic, the language Yeshua actually spoke, the phrase would have been closer to Reham Basaneach, which translates more accurately as, have compassion within yourself for those who oppose you. Not love them, not submit to them, but hold space within your own inner temple for the recognition that they too are lost in the illusion. This is not weakness, this is power. Because when you see your enemy as another prisoner of the demiurge, you stop giving them the energy they need to control you. You stop reacting, you stop being their fuel. And in that stillness, you reclaim your divine spark. Now let us go deeper, into the second movement of this revelation. The Roman Empire did not fall when Constantine converted to Christianity. It transformed, it became the Church. And the Church needed subjects, not mystics. It needed believers, not knowers. So they took the teachings of a Gnostic rebel and turned them into a manual for obedience. They erased the secret Gospels, the ones that spoke of the Pleroma, the ones that named the demiurge as Yaldabaoth, the blind god who believes himself supreme, the ones that said salvation is not granted by a priest, it is remembered by the soul. And they replaced it with a new narrative, one where suffering is holy, where poverty is blessed, where the meek inherit the earth only after they die. Do you see the architecture of the prison now? If you are still with me, Seeker, then you are ready for what comes next. Hit that subscribe button, because the next layer we are about to uncover will expose the most dangerous secret the Archons ever tried to bury. Let us speak now of the third movement, the weaponization of language. In the original Greek manuscripts, there are three distinct words for love. Eros, the passionate, primal force. Philia, the bond of friendship and kinship. And agape, the unconditional divine recognition of the sacred in all things. But when the Latin Vulgate was written by Jerome in the 4th century, all three were collapsed into one word, caritas, which became charity in English. And then, in the King James Bible of 1611, it became love. One word to rule them all. And in that flattening, the nuance was lost. The initiation was lost. The power was lost. Because agape, in its truest Gnostic sense, was never about what you do for others. It was about what you become within yourself. Yeshua taught his inner circle a doctrine of spiritual warfare, not with swords, but with consciousness. In the secret book of John, the risen Christ tells John that the Archons rule through ignorance, through forgetfulness, through the belief that you are only flesh, and the way you defeat them is not by fighting them on their terms. It is by remembering who you are, by awakening the divine spark that they cannot touch, by refusing to play the game of victim and oppressor. So when he said, in essence, honor the divine in those who oppose you, he was not asking you to be weak. He was asking you to be invincible. Because when you stop identifying with the body, with the ego, with the story of separation, the Archons lose their grip. They cannot feed on what you no longer fear. Now we arrive at the fourth movement, the psychological implant. Because this mistranslation was not just theological, it was a program, a code installed in the collective unconscious of the West. Love your enemies. Say it aloud. Feel how it sits in your chest. For most, it creates a subtle tension, a sense of obligation, of moral duty, and underneath that, a quiet rage. Because deep down, the soul knows this teaching is a trap. It knows that true love cannot be commanded. that forced compassion is just resentment in disguise. And so we carry this wound, this split. We are told to forgive, to forget, to turn the other cheek. But the divine spark inside us screams for justice, for boundaries, for the reclamation of power. And the church calls that voice the devil. But what if it is not the devil at all? What if it is Sophia herself calling you home? Let me show you the alchemy. In the Gnostic tradition, the enemy is not a person, it is a force. The demiurge and his archons, the rulers of the lower realms who keep you trapped in cycles of suffering, reaction, and forgetfulness. Your true enemy is not the human who wrongs you. It is the ignorance inside both of you. So when the teaching says, honor the divine in your enemy, it is not asking you to tolerate abuse. It is not asking you to enable harm. It is asking you to see through the illusion, to recognize that the one who oppresses you is also oppressed by the same system, by the same blind God. And in that recognition, you stop feeding the cycle. You stop giving your energy to the game. You step out of the matrix. This is the teaching they could not allow to survive. Because if you knew this, you would stop waiting for salvation. You would stop looking to priests and kings and presidents to save you. You would go inward, to the pleroma, to the place where you and the monad are one. And that, seeker, is the most dangerous thing a human being can do. If this transmission is landing in your soul, if you feel the fire of remembrance rising, then do not walk away without marking this moment. Subscribe to the Gnostic Archive, because the final movement is about to reveal how you use this knowledge to break free. Now we enter the fifth and final movement, practical gnosis. How do you live this truth? First, you stop outsourcing your power. You stop waiting for permission to defend your boundaries. You stop believing that suffering makes you holy. The archons taught you that pain is purification, that sacrifice is love. But the Gnostic knows better. Pain is information, sacrifice is theft. And love, true love, begins with the sovereignty of the self. Second, you practice the recognition. When someone harms you, pause. Do not react from the wound. Ask yourself, what part of them is still asleep? Not to excuse them, not to tolerate the harm, but to see the bigger picture. Because when you see the archonic influence, you stop taking it personally. You stop letting it define you. And in that space, you reclaim your divine spark. Third, you transmute. This is the alchemical secret. You take the energy of opposition and you turn it into fuel for your ascension. Every enemy becomes a teacher. Every wound becomes a portal. Not because you are grateful for the harm, but because you refuse to let it diminish you. You refuse to let the demiurge win. And finally, you remember. You remember that you are not from here, that this world of matter, of violence, of separation is not your home. You are a fragment of the pleroma, a spark of the infinite, and you are here on a mission to awaken, to remember, to return. So when they tell you to love your enemies, hear it differently now. Hear it as the initiatory teaching it was always meant to be. Not a command to submit, but an invitation to transcend. Not a doctrine of weakness, but a technology of liberation. This is the knowledge they tried to bury, the gnosis they burned at the stake, the truth they mistranslated, misinterpreted, and weaponized against you. But you are here now. You have heard the transmission, and once you hear it, you cannot unhear it. The seeker does not return to sleep. The one who remembers cannot forget again. You are standing at the threshold now. Behind you is the world of illusion, of control, of obedience. Ahead is the path of the initiated, the path of sovereignty, of gnosis, of return to the monad. Will you cross? Will you commit to reading beyond the lines, to questioning every doctrine, every mistranslation, every chain they wrapped around your divine spark? If the answer is yes, then join us. Subscribe to the Gnostic Archive. This is the sanctuary of the initiated, the place where the ancient mysteries are spoken aloud, where the codes are cracked, where the veil is torn. We will continue this transmission. There are more secrets waiting, more mistranslations to expose, more layers of the prison to dismantle. But it begins with this moment, with this choice, to remember who you are. You are not the body. You are not the ego. You are not the victim of this world. You are the divine spark, the fragment of the pleroma, the one who was never truly lost, only sleeping. And now you are awake. Welcome, Seeker. Welcome to the Gnostic Archive. The transmission continues.